Hello. This was my 12, 15 seconds of silence there for kind of what I'm going to dive into here. I kind of did the little sport jacket. I'm going to take that off too. But it just kind of introduced me to my topic. I'm trying to be creative. And so my topic is how athletes, use civil resistance and how we see it today in our society and kind of what comes about from it. So the first example there with that moment of silence was at the 2016 ESPYs. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, and Chris Paul went up to receive an award, and they were all in black suits, and they stood in silence for a few minutes, or not a few minutes, but a few moments there, and instead of talking about the reward or award that they won or discussing any of that, they kind of took a stand and kind of performed a civil resistance act in what I see as, how athletes use civil resistance. And so I have a short little video I'm going to show you, quick kind of, 35 seconds, just so you can put a video with what you're thinking about here. So this is it's the best way I could think to do this. It's because I'm not a video editor, so...
LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, and Carmelo Anthony kicked off the 2016 ESPYs by taking a stand, literally, and addressing race relations, shootings, and law enforcement issues that have recently come to a head in this country. Their goal was to encourage other athletes to use their platform to inspire change while the world watches.
The system is broken.
So that was kind of the first thing that came to my mind when I started thinking about this Capstone Project and what I've learned, and kind of truly using nonviolent acts in a sense that, we can really create change from that. So this kind of popped in my mind, and I had a couple others that popped in my mind, so I'll take you through those examples. But really, what stuck out for me, and when I think of this Capstone Project and what it kind of resembles from, the past 8 weeks that we've been working together here as a class, and kind of what I've taken from it, is just the true power in a nonviolent act. Being, a guy or whatever, when we get mad, or human nature, we want to fight, or we want to, a violent act, an act of violence. And really, when it comes down to it, that's not the most successful way to create change. The way to create change is you want to bring people, you want to have numbers, you want to have, a certain amount of signatures. And that's why, I thought this video stuck out too, is because really it was LeBron James's award, but he decided to bring up his three best friends to say, you know what, I'm not alone here. I'm not the only one thinking this way. Here's my four guys, and we all feel the same way. And we know there needs to be change. So then the next one is kind of big in the media right now, which is, perfect, because obviously when I think about an athlete taking a stand, I think of this, which is, that's Colin Kaepernick, who was an NFL quarterback. And he decided to kneel during the national anthem. And the reason for him kneeling during the national anthem was to create awareness for African American police brutality and just police brutality in a sense, and for to stand up for equality for people of color. So kind of what came about from that, and it's kind of unique because this is also a nonviolent act, and really kind of fits perfect with what we're trying to accomplish here in this class. And when I look back and reflect on it, and so Colin Kaepernick, to give you a little background, he was removed from the NFL. No team would sign him. He was, just to add more detail, he was good enough to lead his team to a Super Bowl at a young age, and he could really play and was revolutionizing the game and doing a lot of great things, running and passing the football as a quarterback. And, so he's good enough to play in the NFL. His skill set is good enough, but he's been blackballed by the NFL. And, even the president has spoke on, he shouldn't kneel because it's disrespectful to the flag and veterans and whatever. But at the end of the day, he has something to say that he is passionate about, like we talk about in this class. He's passionate about it, and he wants to bring that to fruition, or bring that to life. And how did he think that it was right, or how did he think the right way to go about this was? He said, he's not hurting anybody by kneeling during the national anthem. But all this backlash has come from him doing that. So that's just another example that I thought was important to talk about in this video. And it'll be on my takeaways as well. But, just to kind of voice some things and give you a couple visuals. And there's one more I'll touch on. Now this team is the LA Rams. They relocated from St. Louis to Los Angeles. But at the time when they were here, they were in St. Louis, which this was around the same time that Ferguson, everything that went on there in Ferguson, and kind of the riots and what came about there from really race discrimination, or I don't want to call it race discrimination. Well, yeah, I will. Just from racial conflict, I'll say, kind of what came about there. And so the athletes walked out with their hands up, kind of, coming out of the tunnel to an NFL game. And, they got all kinds of stuff for this, violence. And, they, once again, and it was unique when I started looking this up. The first couple articles that came up were players apologize for their actions, with the do not shoot. Well, I don't know if they should be sorry, right? Like, that's kind of what I've learned from this class is if they have something they feel that's wrong, why are they having to apologize for, acting out in a nonviolent way? They're not hurting anybody, right? I mean, people's feelings might get a little, but, they're not hurting anyone. So that's pretty much how I wanted to go about this Capstone Project, and I wanted to thank you guys for working with me in this class for the last 8 weeks. It's been awesome, and thank you guys.